of Jesus in a public setting. Questions such as political, doctrinal, and ethical. And Jesus asks a personal question that turned the tables on them. A crowd of people always listened for Jesus' answers. The Pharisees and the Herodians knew they had him. They were going to trap him and make him discredit himself with his own words in front of all of these witnesses. The Pharisees lived in a country that made them subject to the Roman Empire. This made them upset with the Roman rule and the taxes that they had to pay to Rome, especially knowing that some of these taxes helped build idols that the Romans worshipped, and even lavish lifestyles from the Roman leaders. The tax was in question was the poll tax, similar to a census tax, which in particular this they did not appreciate, as it pointed to them the identity of them being a part of the Roman Empire. If Jesus were to say to the Pharisees, "Yes, pay the tax," then he would be saying that it was okay to worship Caesar, and then the Pharisees would condemn him for putting Caesar equal to God. People did not like being taxed. For Israelites, God was the only king, and in their trap they are saying that if they paid this tax, it would make God less, because he would admit that Caesar was a god. And we do not know a lot about the Herodians, but what we do know is that they were a political party who accepted the Roman rule. They were okay with it. They thought that giving these taxes was the law, and that was fine. So when Jesus was asked the question, "Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" If Jesus were to say, "No, don't pay these taxes to Caesar," the Herodians would turn him in to the law, and he would be in trouble with the law. One would think there was no way out. There was no answer for these questions. Jesus was being tested. He was being judged and entrapped. So they thought. The Pharisees and the Herodians instead and insisted on their own way instead of others. They did not even agree with each other, but they bonded together in this one part of their lives. They wanted Jesus out of the picture. Jesus saw right through their questions. He saw what they were trying to do. It's so hard to deceive God who knows everything. He knows they are trying to trick him. Wouldn't it be nice if we were to know if someone were trying to trick us? The Roman coin contained an image, an inscription, that would be considered blasphemous by any Jews. You can see it pictured here. And in the inscription it reads, "Tiberius Caesar, son of the divine Augustus, the high priest." This is the coin that they were talking about. Jesus asks, "Why are you trying to trick me? Show me this coin that is used to pay the tax." He asked, whose portrait and whose inscription is on it? And you can see here, of course, it is Caesar's. In ancient days, coinage was a sign of kingship. It showed that it was the property of the king, whosever image was engraved in it. Jesus says, "Whose image is on this coin?" "Caesar." "Well, then give to Caesar what is Caesar's. It's his. And give to God what is God's." He turned that question right on them. The Pharisees and the Herodians must have thought, oops, this is not turning out the way that we expected or that we thought. We thought we had him stumped. Shucks, he's got us again. For them to be able to show the coin in the first place means they already had this image of Caesar in their pocket. This coin that caused them so much trouble because they were living in the empire, and apparently they were already using this coin too, which acknowledged that this coin was Caesar's already. And so Jesus turned the question on them. He doesn't stop here, but says, give to God what is God's. We can see the image on the coin, but where is God? Where is God's inscription in this world? An old saying says, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. That may be jokingly said in perhaps marriage, but it gets at something with every relationship. Individuals might say, this is my house, my car, my bank account, my things, and my family. And in marriage, it might change to, this is our house, our car, our bank account, our things, and our family. But what about God? In our relationship with him, does it matter if we say something belongs to us? Does anything belong to us? What is it that bears God's image? Every good thing has God's image on it. God must be attributed to every good thing. God has gifted us with many, many things. Give to God what is God's. Honor the one who is the giver of the one who provides mercy, who provides our daily bread, and the giver of all good things. All the way in Genesis in chapter 1, in creation, we read that you were created in God's image. You have God's image stamped on you. The coin belongs to Caesar. You belong to God. Jesus takes that question and traps in order to trap him and turns it around into a worship question. Who is the object of your highest devotion? What is the object of your highest devotion? And who owns you? It certainly isn't a coin, is it? Jesus refuses to answer their question, but forces them to see what they are doing. Whom do you worship? The question is turned around, because every part of our lives, all good things are attributed to God. Everything is God's. And not only that, but especially you belong to God. We live in this world, which means we have things. We might have a house or a car or clothing, food, and laws. And Jesus is standing in front of this crowd saying, everything exists because of God. Every good thing is God's.